One QNT is a big deal, not just because of what that one QNT will be worth in the future, but how many is actually available, only 14.6 million. And if you already hold one QNT, you are ahead of the curve. And if you understand the long-term value, you will also know you can never have enough, especially before supply shock is in play. The amount of whales big buyers are increasing, the amount remaining on exchanges is decreasing. Now, before we go into the video, as I said in the previous one, if we get over 100 likes, which we did, I will do a giveaway of $50. So to enter, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, leave a like down below and comment down below QNT. Then in the next video, we'll go into a comment generator and award the winner in that video. So with that said, leave a like down below and let's get straight into the video. Okay, so for point number one, we have scarcity. The most important thing when it comes to supply and demand. We spoke about other assets compared to QNT like gold, for example, when it comes to the supply not being audited and there being more gold in the sea and asteroids, for example. Tons worth, trillions worth, or quintillions worth, lowering the price eventually. Then we have Bitcoin, scarce, audited, 21 million, store of value, fantastic asset. But as investors, in the end of the day, we are looking for the highest return possible. And QNT $1.5 billion market cap can do that, having use case outside of digital payments and a store of value. And empowering financial institutions, enterprise, partners, and developers. Now, on to the second point, we have timeline, the most important point of all. Not only is QNT very affordable right now in terms of how much it is to purchase one QNT, but also of where we are in the cycle. I see time and time again people saying it's too late to buy. The time to buy was in 2022, 2023. This I can agree on most assets like Bitcoin and a few other alts, but QNT is still in accumulation ranges. Also, when you go to the Bitcoin all-time chart, it's nearly breaking all-time highs. Bitcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum are nowhere near the previous cycle highs, only about 63% of the way there. So much room for growth, and QNT has got a lot of room for catching up. And as I've said before, the winners of this cycle have not actually won yet. The top 10, top 20 snapshot from 2021, the cryptos have not changed that much. The real winners have not blossomed just yet. Also, in terms of QNT, specifically, a QNT OG San stated when Bitcoin increased all the way, QNT did nothing, then increased, then became one of the most traded cryptos on Coinbase Pro, fourth with all top 10 cryptos. And during this past year, where QNT has not been performing up to scratch, instead of capitulating and selling my holdings, where in other coins I've been very profitable, especially AI cryptos, instead of selling some of those profits to stable coins, I put some into QNT. Once this gets past $150, that is when the fun begins. Now on to the next point, we have tokenomics, very important for the long term and solidifies QNT as a long-term hold. There's no nasty unlocks diluting the supply over time. And if you follow this investor strategy from like the early Bitcoin holders, it's very advantageous to invest in QNT. For example, no shade towards HBAR, I hold this crypto as well. But if you had that long-term mindset that they had, where you want to put a portion into a crypto, put it on cold storage, and just forget about it. Let's say you did that in 2020, you'd only be up to nearly 3x on your investment compared to QNT. If you did that in 2020, you'd be far more up. And this is why one QNT is so important to hold, because it will never touch the previous bear market lows. This will be said at the next bear market at the higher 3-digit price points, possibly even the lower 4-digit price points, never touching these previous bear market lows. Long-term hold. Last, we have a supply shock, mainly coming from the use case of the token, the UK economy running on QNT without them even knowing it. Project Rosalind, Overledger, powering Project Rosalind, with QNT being a critical part of that project. Not to mention in these plans, the use of QNT and the amount of outflows we're seeing exchanges right now in terms of value provided by Tokenizer. And with a scarce supply, demand increasing, the price is therefore going to increase. And that's pretty much why one QNT is very valuable. Going forward, with this asset, we are still in accumulation ranges. Hopefully, we can turn $150 into support, then be off to the races. In terms of the whole market sentiment, I'm looking to slowly exit my positions as we turn to 5x, 10x, and so on. I'm not trying to time the top of the market. There's signals like this with the Coinbase app. If it's in the top 10, that's a top signal. But what I go for in 2022, 2023, dollar cost averaging into fearful moments and low prices. And as we go up in the market, slowly exiting my positions along with QNT. That's going to be pretty much it for today's video. Me, it's Far. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.
We roam the world with our phones digitally. We move easily between countries and everything comes with us. But the one thing that's been left behind is our money. People think our money is digital. We've got internet banking. We've got automatic real-time payments and transactions, card payments. All those things are an overlay of the old money system. If you make it purely digital, in line with society's needs, it removes a lot of the friction, it creates a lot of efficiency, and really provides a new way to use money. Central bank digital currencies are inevitable. If you look at all the stats, 80% of central banks looking at a CBDC and what it means, and there's others that are piloting, and there's some that have actually implemented CBDCs. So a central bank digital currency is pretty much a reset of how money should work and how the whole infrastructure should be set out. And so what that means to banks is there is a new form of money they need to be ready for. At Quant, we've been at the forefront of blockchain technology, first starting out by establishing standards for the industry to build the technology. We've created a central bank digital currency platform where all central banks can actually test practically the theoretical concepts of a CBDC and what it means for them. But more importantly, the banks can start integrating central bank technology into their payment systems. One of the projects we've been working on has been with the Bank of England and the BIS on Project Rosalind. We provided the whole platform and the technology by having interoperable CBDCs within the central bank itself. And that was used by industry to test people like Barclays, people like Amazon, people like MasterCard, to test all of their CBDC applications and use cases on top of our platform in a real world setting. So this means they don't have to wait for a CBDC to be enabled. They can actually start testing, integrating, building, and making sure their banks are ready for central bank digital currencies. The whole concept of transforming the financial system is very complex and very difficult to do. What we're doing as Quant is really being the pioneer in this space, making the leap to digital currencies from central banks or to commercial bank money very easy and seamless to do. We're making it easy to integrate into existing systems. Banks can get involved today. They can do a private-public partnership. They can co-create what a CBDC should look like for them. They can have a seat at the table to provide their requirements. And what we do as Quant is really help everyone evolve to a new form of money, to a new form of smart money.